Hello. Happy Monday. Welcome to Monday Messages. So, how was your Thanksgiving? It was a different Thanksgiving this year, totally, wasn't it? It sucks that this is the way it is this year in 2020. I usually we go to Florida and we get to I wake up in the morning wherever we are and I turn on the Macy's Thanksgiving Day parade and then we'll go see the family later on. Well, that didn't happen this year. We couldn't do that. We couldn't travel because of obviously the COVID coming around. So I was very grateful that one thing that was sticking the same was that I could still watch the Macy's Thanksgiving Day Parade. So I turned on the Today Show and watched, Savannah Guthrie and Hoda doing the Today Show, and of course Al was there, and it gave me a sense of when they started the parade. I just wanted to cry a little bit because it was just, there's a little bit of my tradition that I still get to keep this year. Even though it's a whole different parade, they're doing it. Thank you. Thank you, Macy's Thanksgiving Day Parade. It made me think about, too, you know, one time in my life, I was a huge Today Show fan. And I actually was traveling on the road with Nickelodeon at the time. And I ended up getting a gig um, where I was going to be in New York City. And as timing would have it, it was going to be the perfect timing of my sister's birthday. And so immediately I put together a plan. I said, you know what? I could be on the Today Show. I'm going to plan on getting up and going to the Today Show with a sign that says happy birthday to my sister Shannon. And I was like so excited about this. And so I told my brother about the plan, who lives in New York, and he happens to be an artist. So he made this beautiful sign. And actually, the sign looked like a postage stamp. It was gorgeous. It was a work, literally, it was a work of art. And it said, happy birthday, Shannon. And so I was like, okay, I got my sign, got everything ready to go. I'm super excited. And also, the day before, when I was at my Nickelodeon gig, it was like this big, huge event in Central Park with all these celebrities there, and who did I happen to run into but Ann Curry the day before. I'm like, Ann, hi, like we were friends. Because, I watched her every day in the morning, so I considered her my friend. Like, hey, Ann, hi. And so she came over, and she was the sweetest lady in the world. And I was telling her, I was talking about, what I was doing with Nickelodeon, and she was super sweet listening. She's like, oh, and I said, oh, by the way, tomorrow morning I'm going to be there to say happy birthday to my sister because I'm just a huge fan of your show. She goes, great. I look forward to seeing you there. She goes, listen, if you have any trouble, you just let me know and I'll make sure, you get on. I was like, oh, thank you, Anne. Thank you. And then I also ran into like Katie Couric, who I love as well at the time. And I was like, hey, Katie, where's Matt? And she goes, where the heck is Matt Lauer? Who cares? She like rolled her eyes. I was like, ooh, there's a little drama going on between Katie and Matt. Who knew? So I was like super excited. I got like all this like insider stuff going on with the Today Show. So anyway, the day comes, April 28th. I was all excited. Had I got up like at the crack of dawn, literally. I was out there at 5 a.m. in the morning with my sign, holding it up. I had my postage stamp, and I was the only one there. I was like, is this Rockefeller Center? Is this where it's going to be? So I literally was, parked out there 5 o'clock in the morning, holding my sign, ready to go. So the hours roll by, and finally, a crowd starts kind of gathering around. I'm still there, holding strong with my sign. Like, God, there's no way. There is no way Al is going to bypass me with this sign. Sure enough, all of a sudden things start rolling. And at the last second, this cute little old couple comes up with a little napkin that says just married. And I'm like, oh, sweet. Congratulations. I was like, yeah, it's my sister's birthday. And they're like, oh, it's a beautiful sign. I was like, yeah, nice cocktail napkin. So I'm like, okay. And then Al comes out, and I'm like, immediately I start getting excited. I'm like, okay, this is my moment. This is Al's. Al's going to be coming straight to me. And sure enough, the cameras start rolling. Al starts talking. I see him looking around, and then I see him look in my direction. I'm like, Oh, Al sees the sign. Well, Al will be coming over to check out my sign. So all of a sudden, he starts walking towards me. I'm like, oh my God, this is the moment I've been waiting for. I'm going to be on the Today Show. And he keeps coming towards me. I'm like, oh, thank you. Thank you. What am I going to say to Al? I was just building it all up in my mind. And he goes right next to the people with holding up the cocktail napkin that just showed up. I'd been there a couple of hours holding this stamp sign, and they went to this couple just showing. So he was talking to them, and they laughed, and they had a nice interview, and I'm just still holding my sign, nodding, like, oh, this is great, yeah. And Al goes, and he comes and goes throughout the time we're there. And it's looking less and less likely because every time he's out there, he's specifically not coming to me. So suddenly I'm just like, okay, you know what? I'm just going to have to accept that Al's not going to come say hi to me. At least I'm here holding my sign. This is the way it is. And so be it. And then Ann Curry comes out with like the rest of the Today Show crew. And I see Ann and I'm like, oh, there's my Ann. There's my Ann. And I'm like, Ann, hi. And I hold my sign and she's like, oh, kind of like, oh, great. And then I see her whisper to Al, and Al kind of looks my way. And I see this kind of look on his face like, okay. So I was like, I think this is it. I think I'm finally Al's actually going to come up on me. Now that I have my in connection with Ann. And sure enough, the camera starts going and Al starts talking. It's like, oh, and there's this young lady over here holding this beautiful sign. And I was like, Al Roker is coming to me. And I froze. And I'm used to talking in front of hundreds of thousands of people at a time, but this moment was bigger than me. I was actually on the Today Show talking to Al Roker. And so here's what I did. When Al comes, I go, yeah, you got this beautiful sign. I go, it's a stamp. And he goes, yeah, I see that. It's a beautiful, beautiful sign there. And he's like, do you have any message you want to say? And I was like, happy birthday to my sister. And he's like, oh, okay. Well, happy birthday to your sister. What's her name? Shannon. And Al, I could see, was kind of like, okay, just get me out of this. Should we cut to commercial here? And so he's like, okay, well, nice talking to you. And he takes off and I'm like, I just talked to Al Roker. But I totally froze and did not, say what I had hoped to say, like, hey, Al, yeah, no, I'm a big fan of the show. Happy birthday to my sister. No, it's like frozen. So that was my big moment on the Today Show with my saying happy birthday to my sister. And I didn't realize how many other people watched the Today Show. You would have thought I was, on a major TV. Well, I was on a major TV show, but I got so many people coming up to me. It was a great pickup way to meet guys after. It's like, hey, were you on the Today Show? I was like, yeah, I sure was. You were holding a stamp. I was like, yeah, that was me. Yeah. So how am I going to tie this to my message this week? My message this week is about acceptance and surrender. So, 2020, this year, not been the year we hoped it would be by any means, or thought it would be. I left my job on the day before St. Patrick's Day, and I still haven't been back to my desk. And I got laid off. I've since been rehired, but it's a whole different type of work environment now that I'm doing. And, I didn't get to go on the vacation I'd hoped to go on this year. I didn't get to go on the spring break I'd hoped to go on this year. Definitely didn't celebrate my birthday or anything I had hoped to do this year. Didn't have the summer I wanted to have with my son riding roller coasters with his best friend. It just didn't happen. And it would be so easy to go down that, oh, poor me, this sucks. How come I can't do this? But it's just like, what good is that going to do, right? So I just have to accept, okay, this is the way it is right now. It's not going to always be like this. It's the way it is right now. And so I'm just going to accept this is the way it is right now. Keep my family as safe as we can get. And then next year, please God, will be a different year. I already see light at the end of the tunnel with these vaccines on the horizon. They're talking about travel picking up in the summer. So I'm seeing signs of hope on the horizon. But for right now, this is how it's going to be. And I've just kind of make do with what God's gifted me with. The most important things I have today are okay. My family's safe. We got a roof over our head. Everything's okay. And I know that's not the case for everybody. And those people that are going through those rough times due to this virus, you know, hang in there, and know that all you have to worry about is just today. Stay safe today and let tomorrow work itself out. Um, I love this sign I saw one time. It's like, today's the tomorrow you worried about yesterday. And it would be very easy for me to live in the wreckage of my future and go down that path of, oh my gosh, what happens if this happens, and so I don't go there. I stay in I've talked about this before, stay in the what is, not in the what ifs. And the what is today is, we're living virtually through this global pandemic that's took the world by the balls, literally. we are not able to move. So I'm going to accept this is where we are today because there's nothing I can do to change it. The serenity prayer comes in. God grant me the serenity to accept the things I cannot change. I can't change that there is a global pandemic happening right now, but give me the courage to change the things I can. And that is whatever I can do to keep myself safe during this time and sane and maybe be of service to some other people. That's how I'm going to get through this, and the wisdom to know the difference. I can't change the pandemic. The only thing I can change is my attitude towards the pandemic and what happens with that. And by changing my attitude and going into a place of acceptance, and for right now, this is the way it is, and I'm going to make the best of it. It's getting me through, and I hope it gets you through too. So I hope you have a wonderful week. I'll see you next week for another Monday message. If you're enjoying this, hit that subscribe button. We'll do this every week. Get together, get a cup of coffee, and let's just start with a positive Monday message. All right, I will see you next week. Have a wonderful week. Bye.